Today we're going to be talking about how to know if you're making progress in terms of fat loss when you are looking at the number on the scale and it's not moving anywhere, or if it's fluctuating a couple pounds, like literally every other day, you're up 3 pounds, you're down 3 pounds. How to get that consistent and why it's moving so much, and is that true weight gain? So if you guys are on a fat loss phase or tracking progress and that scale is all over the place and you don't know if you're really losing fat or if you're having body composition going on or what it is, we're gonna address all of that today. And my females, if you guys are on, stay on, because this is gonna be huge for you. So as you guys know, I started my fitness journey. I came from a severe eating disorder. So the scale was always something that messed with my mind. I would weigh myself in the morning. If the scale was a number I did not like, I did not leave my room. As a matter of fact, when the scale was heavier, I kind of just was like, F it. And I would actually go on these 6,000 to 7,000 calorie binges on the weekend. And then I would restrict my calories to 200 to 300 a day through the whole week, drop a ton of weight, and then gain back. So the scale is something that I understand as a female can really affect our mind. With my clients that I take into a fat loss phase, I do like to have them weigh themselves on the scale, and I take an average reading of that each week. But there's also other things that I look at that I'm going to talk about now, and I'm going to explain what is happening. So first, I want to start off by talking about things that could affect the number on the scale. Okay, guys, so we're going to start off with how to really dial in on getting the most accurate readings on a scale. So when you weigh yourself, you always want to weigh yourself first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, out your clothes, on the same scale. If you are going from one scale to the next scale, there could be anywhere from like a 2 to 5. I've seen up to 8 pounds of a difference between scales. So always stick to the same scale first thing in the morning after you go to the bathroom so that you're getting the most consistent there. The second thing that could affect the number on the scale is going to be eating out. So if you guys have realized you've eaten out more, or you're eating more processed foods, or you're looking at your food intake and you're getting a lot more sodium in your diet than you're used to. And this is literally, guys, if you're eating fast food, boxed food, or you're eating out, they load that stuff up with sodium so that your body craves it and it tastes really good and you want to go back. So what happens is when you get excess sodium in your body, it's going to cause your body to retain water. Sodium and potassium are both electrolytes, so they help with water balances in the body. If your sodium is very high and your potassium levels aren't equaled out or kind of in that good balance, you're just going to feel puffy and you're going to feel swollen, and it's because of the sodium retention. And what happens if you go eat out, like if you go and you eat a big dinner, and you're not used to it, or you're looking at your diet and you're like, this week the scale went up a couple pounds, but I've been eating more processed food, eating out more, my sodium level's been a lot higher, that's going to affect it. So look at your sodium levels. If you're eating more processed foods, maybe come down to a more whole food diet. Look at incorporating more potassium-rich foods in your diet, more dark leafy greens, more fruits, more vegetables. I love adding like dandelion, celery, cucumber, because they're very, very good balance of sodium to potassium, and they actually help flush out your kidneys. They help with your liver detox, as well as they act as the natural diuretic, so flushing out that excess sodium. The next thing that could affect the number on your scale, and this is going to be all my females out there, it's coming close to your period. So a week prior to your period, your body, your estrogen, and your progesterone levels, they're going to start going up and down, and you get emotional, and then you start feeling like down on yourself, and then you start looking through Instagram and start comparing your results to other people. Stop right now. Stop and know that if you're a week out from your period, or you're starting to ovulate, or you're during your period, If you feel bloated and fluffy, and if that scales up 3, 4, 5 pounds, it is 5,000% normal. And if you just keep your brain chill and you give it a few days and you get through your period, your stomach's gonna go back down. This is normal. It's a part of being a female, 100% normal. Please don't let it get to your mind, girls, and just know that if you're on your period, your weight's gone up, it's gonna go right back down. I promise you guys, it will. Promise. The next thing, and this is a huge one, okay? Training intensity. Okay? Training intensity. When you are training hard, your body is breaking down muscle fibers. Okay? What happens? There is an inflammatory response in the body due to breaking down the muscle fibers. So if you are very sore, or if you just started, you're used to like circuit training and you're doing this one style of training and then you completely change it and you're doing this periodization, which is the approach that I take with my clients, so like strength periodizations with proper deloading cycles, and you're really pushing it in the gym and you're getting very sore, you're gonna notice your jeans are gonna fit tighter after a leg day, or your back may feel tighter too in your shirt. What happens is you're having inflammation in the body because it's trying to repair those muscle fibers to build that lean muscle mass. So if the scale is going up and you're part of a new training program, or you are just very, very sore and it's post leg day, that is another reason why the scale can go up. I do want to talk another one, and then I have a bunch of points that I want to address that are going to be very beneficial if you are in a fat loss phase, so hold up. The next one is going to be stress. So a lot of the times we stress about the number on the scale, and stress is going to throw off your hormones. It's going to cause you to retain water, and it's going to make the whole scenario worse, guys. Okay? So please, please, please don't stress about the number on the scale. Okay? I want to go through a few of these. I'm going to restructure something a little bit differently, but all in all, guys, if you are only basing your fat loss off of the number on the scale, you need to stop and you need to turn back around. If you're seeing a lot of fluctuations on the scale and you want to get more consistent with your readings, look at your sodium levels, okay? Look at your stress levels. If your stress is high, your body may retain water. If your sodium levels are high, your body may retain water. Weigh yourself on the same scale first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, okay? Make sure if you guys are on a new training program, or you're very, very sore, or you're completely changing your training style, that's going to cause inflammation in the body, okay? Not true weight gain. It is just inflammation in the body, okay? Another thing that can cause those fluctuations, ready for this? Your food. So this is going to be a big one. With a lot of clients, when I first start with them, they're not used to tracking macros, or they're just not used to getting in a certain amount of carbs or protein, or just having a good structure to their day. It's like, if you see you're having all of these crazy fluctuations day by day, and you look at your diet and there's no consistency with your diet, and you really, really want to dial in on the most accurate scale weighings, I would suggest almost making yourself a meal plan. If you're having low fiber one day, high fiber the next, and then it's low, your body is regulating in different ways. It's trying to digest the fiber if it's really high one day, which may make your weight spike up the next day. And then if your carbs are really, really low the next day, your kidneys are gonna flush out the excess water, you may feel super leaner, and then add the carbs back in the next day and your weight's gonna spike again. So you're gonna have these ups and downs of spike. I would 100% suggest, and this is what I do for myself, I have my macronutrients that I hit on a daily basis. I have my carbs, my fat, and my protein to reach my goals. Then I like to find balance with that. I like to eat 3 to 4 meals a day. I divide my macros up equally at each meal so that I'm not just having a large meal, a tiny meal. I'm all over the place with the fiber and I'm eating all these different things. I eat at, sounds crazy, I almost eat at the same time each day. I eat things that my body agrees with. My macronutrients are consistent. My fiber intake is consistent. So there, I'm gonna get the most accurate scale weighings in terms of my weight. If you're fluctuating from low carbs, high carbs, low protein, high protein, you're just throwing off the different, your just digestive system's trying harder one day, less the next day, and it's just a lot of different things. So if you want the most accurate, I would say make yourself a meal plan, look at all those other things that I discussed as well, okay? So now, if you are in a fat loss phase and you're not seeing the number on the scale move and you've taken all of these things into effect, I'm going to discuss why the number is not scaling, and there's going to be two different scenarios. So the first scenario is going to be someone, a client that would be coming to me at a little bit, maybe like 22% body fat or a little bit higher, that's not used to training the way I train, which is strength progressions where you're pushing it each week, really giving yourself a low volume week going into a new program. It's called periodization training. It's completely different than going into a gym and just moving the weight and doing a different workout every single day. With this, you're truly gonna build the lean muscle mass like never before. So if you say this person's 20 plus percent body fat, they're coming to me, they want fat loss. They're at like 2,000 calories, we take them to a deficit and we start there. They're used to training maybe 4 times a week, but they do more circuit style. And I'm gonna bring them up with a good balance of cardio, a good balance of strength training so that we're building lean muscle mass and hitting that fat burning zone. I'm gonna get their macros on point, and we're gonna be pushing it in the gym, okay? So a couple weeks in, they're following the strength training. They're sore as fuck, and they're not seeing that scale move. Number one, if they're very sore and they're going into a new training program that their body is not used to, 2 things could be happening in their body. Number one is the inflammation that we just talked about. So their body cannot, they're on a deficit. They're not gaining weight, they're not losing weight, they're maintaining. Their body could be having just either inflammation in the body, or we could be having a major body recomposition going on. So what could be happening is that this is shocking their body so much, and they're not used to this, having consistent macros, the right ones for their metabolism, with the correct training and the recovery and all of that, so that their fat mass is dropping. Their lean muscle mass is booming. The number on the scale is not moving, but the fat mass is going down. Lean muscle mass is going up. They're getting hungry. Their metabolism's going up. And if you look at the pictures, which is another way I like to track progress, you could see more of a body recompositioning happening, okay? So that's one case scenario, is that someone is coming, they're so not used to this new training, they're not used to the consistent with the macros, the number's not moving, but we could almost be having a body recompositioning happening as well, okay? The next case scenario would be someone that is on prep, someone that's sub 10% body fat, lower body fat. And what happens is they're on prep, or they're getting very, very, very lean. This is where I start doing things like carb cycling, refeed, so that we don't hit fat loss plateaus. What people don't understand is for every 1 gram of carbohydrates consumed, your body holds on to 3 to 6 grams of water. Basically, it stores in the muscle as glycogen. Fat, protein does not do that. So when you're not used to getting the carbs in, or you're on a fat loss phase, and then I add in things like carb cycling, higher refeed days, the glycogen, the carbohydrates, they're gonna store in the muscle. Your muscles are gonna feel fuller. You're gonna get more of a pump. The number on the scale may go up a couple pounds, but your hormones are regulating. And then when the refeed goes away, it could spike that fat loss growth. So you're not gaining weight, it's just the carbohydrates loading in the muscle that your muscle feels fuller. So I know I kind of got all over with this, but I'm really gonna outline it now. So number one, if you are on a fat loss phase and you are only looking at the number on the scale and it's not moving and you're getting really frustrated, I want you to start doing different things to start tracking your progress. I would say take pictures, progress pictures, and compare your pictures every couple weeks. Measurements, another way you may be losing inches, even though the number on the scale is not moving because of the body recompositioning happening to you. Also, look at your training. Follow strength periodizations. If you're getting stronger in the gym, you're building lean muscle mass. If you're getting weaker in the gym, and the scale ain't moving, and you ain't pushing it in the gym, it's one thing. But if you're hitting PRs in the gym, you're building that lean muscle mass, and that could be another thing, okay guys? So instead of just looking at the number on the scale, look at other things like progress pictures. You could do a DEXA scan to get to see internally what your fat mass, lean muscle mass is, and do that every couple of months to see the transition with it. The measurements, the pictures, the periodization, and that meal plan that we talked about, okay guys? Come into it. When it comes to the scale reading, look at your sodium intake, look at your diet, make yourself a meal plan with consistency, with eating at the same time, getting in half your body weight in ounces of water a day, getting your 7 to 8 hours of sleep a day, having your consistent training program. If you're consistent with your diet, your meals, your sodium, your fiber, your recovery, you're gonna get the most accurate scale weighings, guys, okay? Get the stress down and keep it there. If you are 1 to 2 weeks into a fat loss phase and you're already just getting down on yourself, I need you to realize that fat loss does not happen overnight at all. A lot of the times, guys, when you start a new program like I'm talking about, your body is shocked. Inflammation in the body, regulation of everything. So stop second guessing yourself and instead look at the other factors that could be contributing to it. Don't let the number on the scale affect you, and instead start looking at other areas where you could be tracking your progress. Gym, progress photos, measurements, bod pod. Because if that fat mass is going down and that lean muscle mass is going up and that scale ain't moving, we're getting results. And if you're just looking at that scale and you're letting that determine, wrong. Okay, guys? So what I do want to discuss is one more thing with you before we get off, and it is going to be just happiness. I say this and I say it a lot. If you're not happy with who you are in the body that you have right now, losing a certain amount of weight is not going to make you happy with yourself. Happiness comes from within. You have to love yourself in all stages of your life. You need to, if you do that now, yeah, you could be where you want to be at your weight loss goal and you're going to love yourself. But you have to love yourself where you are now and find your confidence now and love the journey of it instead of focusing on just the results, the number on the scale. If the number on the scale ain't moving, I'm not getting my results, I want my results now. And that's what everyone wants. They want the magic pill. I'm gonna outline for you really fast my journey. I spent 5 years on a reverse diet. 5 years. If you reverse dieted for 2 weeks, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months maybe, and you go back into a fat loss phase and your body doesn't respond, you just didn't spend enough time there, guys. Give it more time. Give your body time to recover. If you've been on a fat loss phase for a while and your body's just not responding, give it a break. Go into a reverse diet. Give your body time to recover. Time, it needs it, okay? And 5 years I spent on a reverse diet. I fell in love with my body weighing 180 pounds. I felt confident. I felt strong. I was running through the gym in a sports bra and had my stomach and everything. And I just felt so amazing. I felt badass. I felt confidence. And that's where I want. So when I went into my fat loss phase, I think the first couple weeks, my body was like, this is completely different. It had so much stored glycogen in the muscles. The scale wasn't moving too much. It took maybe like 5 weeks, and then I started seeing it drop, and I started going. And I was just so focused on just my end goal of getting on the stage, and I put the trust in my coach that he knew what I needed to do to get there, that I didn't focus. I gave that to my coach, and I just focused on following everything, sticking to my meal plan, and the weight came off. Stop second guessing your progress, okay? So the whole point of this today is I want you guys to understand that number one is if you've been on a fat loss phase for 2, 3, 6, 7 weeks and you haven't dropped like 30 pounds, that's unrealistic, okay? Progress comes with consistency. Get consistent with your sleep. Get consistent with your diet. Get consistent with your training. Get your stress down. Start working on yourself. Focus on those things, and that number on the scale is going to start dropping. But if you don't focus on those and you're focused on the scale and you got ups and downs of macros and you're training and then you're not training and then you're sleeping and then you're not sleeping and then you're stressed, that's not going to get you results. That's not going to get you fat loss, and that's just not realistic. So if you guys need help reaching your fat loss goals, if you guys need help with reverse dieting, any of it, reach out to me. I would love to work with you. You can send me a DM at ElizabethAylorFitness DM me or email me at ElizabethAylorFitness@gmail.com. And remember, don't just look at the scale as your progress. And even with me, guys, I'm gonna be 100% realistic with you. You guys know I suffered from digestive issues. When my stress gets high, it flares my digestive issues and the scale will go up, like 3-4 pounds in one day. And I just don't let it affect me to that sense anymore, because I know that in order to gain 1 pound of fat, you have to be in a surplus of 3,500 calories. I'm not eating, if the scale goes up 3 pounds one day, am I eating 3,500 calories times 3 in that one day to gain 1 pound of fat? No, it's water. And half the time these fluctuations are water and hormones. So dial in on your diet, dial in on your sleep, your recovery, your training, and give it time. If it took you 10 years to get to that state where you are right now with your physique that you're not wanting to be at, it took you 10 years to get there. It ain't gonna take you a week to get where you wanna be. It's gonna take you time. So time, consistency, and you got it.